Living in the mind of God. We have been speaking about how you live a miracle every moment and focusing upon this reality, small r, bringing a focus of attention so complete to this reality, this individuality, this personality, even the body which you claim as your own, that there is a temporary forgetting of the whole of you. We have spoken also of the interdimensional self, the self which is not focused upon a dimension, the interdimensional self, the wholeness of you, the holy you, out of which you draw the energy to focus upon this part and to call it a reality. We have spoken of various exercises of releasing specific focus. Now, I don't mean for you to lay down the body, but I mean for you to have the beholder's view in releasing the strong attachment to this dimension and this reality to the place where you can begin to understand and to experience the holy self, the interdimensional self, even in the midst of the intensity of this reality. We have spoken about focusing upon energy, so that instead of focusing upon bodies or personalities, you are seeing in the mind's eye the energy in the interchange of conversation, the interchange of ideas, the interchange of communication. Now, why is this important? For several reasons. One being that sooner or later in this lifetime you are going to release specific focus upon this lifetime. You are going to allow the body to be cast off as a shell, a vehicle perhaps, and you are going to move into another dimension, as you call it, of reality. So that is a reason that I speak to you of moving into the place of beholder, moving into the place of releasing such specific focus on this reality. But that is not the main reason, for indeed you have laid down the body countless times and you have gone very well with it. You have not gotten lost in the big void somewhere and never to know yourself again, so that is not the main reason for our discussion of this topic. The reason is so that you may have peace even in this lifetime, knowing that, yes, I am in the world. There are worldly activities which I must attend to. There is drama in the world. There is energy in the world that I am in association with, but I am not the world. I am in the world, but I am not the world. The world is of me. It is my creation. The reason is so that you move into the place of the beholder in peace, which allows you the deep breath which we have spoken of oftentimes. It allows you the deep breath of peace, to stand back with new perspective, and then to proceed in this lifetime with a mellowness, not getting caught up in the constriction of appearance, which has been your habit individually and collectively for so many lifetimes. We have spoken that this is a most wonderful lifetime, and that you are willing now to entertain the concept, the idea, that perhaps you are more than just the body. Perhaps you are more than the individuality and the personality. Perhaps there is more to life, and to take the nose out of the specific focus far enough to be able to look around to see the horizon and what is on the horizon. For many lifetimes there has been the collective belief that you had to preserve the body. That was the main focus. You had to do everything to serve the body. It kept you very busy in all of those lifetimes protecting the body, for there were then, as there are now, energies of creativity that would want to bring to your doorstep the possibility of drama, the possibility that your body would be asked of you, and so you developed a very complex system of armoring, both physical armoring of the body and emotional armoring, to avoid any possible threat to what you saw as you. You have brought the memories of the necessity of armoring into this lifetime, even within the cells of the body as a memory, as old wounds, limited beliefs which have shaped this lifetime. They have shaped what you have chosen to believe as truth, and influenced how you have seen others and their interaction with you. But you have done a most wonderful miracle in this lifetime, for you have been moving to the point of saying, perhaps there is much more to me. Perhaps there is more to life than just satisfying the body and keeping the body alive, protecting it, feeding it, nourishing it, bringing forth new life as a small children. Perhaps there is more than just the 9-to-5 job. Perhaps there is more than just satisfying the parents, the peers, society. Perhaps the inner self of me is calling out to be heard. Perhaps the inner self of me wants to be nurtured and acknowledged. You have been listening to the inner voice. You did not do this most other lifetimes. The belief, the possibility was not there. But in this lifetime, and indeed, you have planted the seeds for this lifetime and previous lifetimes. There has been a gradual fruition where you have said, there is more. I know the inner self of me is speaking truth. I want to know more of my holy self. And as you do that, you will behold miracles in your midst, for indeed, miracles are all around you. The releasement, detachment has been called in other philosophical lineage from the very narrow, limited, specific focus upon this dimension, is one of the ingredients in the new paradigm which you are bringing forth. For indeed you are standing upon the threshold of a new time, a new era. You are bringing forth a new paradigm, a new understanding of the expression of the creative Holy Child. It is the acknowledgement of the Christ within. The Christ of you has been from before time began, and that Christ of you is going to see you through all of time into the new time, into the place where you move with the freedom which is not dictated by society, or by time, or any of the arbitrary values which have been held to be truth, small t, up to this point. It has seemed to be a gradual process, because that is how you have asked for it to be presented to you, but in truth, you already know. There is a part of you which you desire to connect with, which is already living in, and what you call the future. There is a part of you that you can connect with in your quiet times, known as meditation. A part of you that you can connect with in your visioning, your times of releasing all the limitations of, what might I experience if I were totally free, if I were totally powerful as the Christ? What might I experience in the days to come? Now, where does that question come from? It comes from the holy self of you, which is already living in the future, and would communicate with you as you see your point of focus being here, and now in a more limited understanding and remembrance. So there is a part of you, not separate. It is very much connected to you by a silver cord of consciousness, so it is not out of your reach, which knows the future, as you call it, and knows the preparation you desire in order to walk unto this new self of you awake. That is what you are doing, and it is no small thing. It is something that you have been preparing for since the beginning of time, since the beginning when you said, I will have an adventure. I will see what I can create. Being the child of my father and mother, the creative one, I want to know what I can bring forth to create. What can I experience? And with that thought, you have brought forth all the worlds, all realities, all dimensions. You have brought forth many, many adventures, and you have lived the adventures over and over with slightly new nuances as to how to play the role. For you have wanted to understand creation and to understand manifest expression of the Christ energy intimately. You have wanted to know it from the inside out. Therefore, you have created, and you have seen yourself on the outside looking in. But in truth, you are the one on the inside who is creating. Now you are coming to a place where you are acknowledging and claiming the whole. You are coming to the place where you understand that you can place yourself outside of anything and look in, or you can place yourself inside and look out. You can see the perspective from different vantage points. You do this in your quiet times of musing. You do this in your times of creative thinking. You do this in your imagination. What would it feel like if? What would it feel like if I were CEO of the biggest company that holds my interest? How would it feel to have the power to direct energy, creative energy, and have others join me in this creative adventure? How would it feel to experience the greatest love, to know myself completely loved, accepted as I am, to even celebrate it, fat thighs and all, to celebrate every cell of this manifest body because I am wonderful? How would it feel to be so loved that I am honored and celebrated as one of the greatest masters who has brought his or her consciousness to this plane? And so you have gone about understanding human love. You have had relationships which have brought you to a greater understanding of love in its human form. You have done this because you have wanted to know expansion of self and to move into more of the remembrance of the true being, the expansive being which you are. You have played with all kinds of roles and scenarios. How would it feel to be the beloved pet? How would it feel to be the bird, the eagle that flies so high? What would the perspective look like from an eagle's point of view? What does it feel like to swim in the ocean, to be one of the vast creatures of the ocean? What does it feel like to dive to the deepest place in the ocean and see the mountains that are covered by water in this day and time? What does it feel like to travel to another planet? What does it feel like to be in conversation with space brothers? What do they have to tell me? More to the point, what do I have to tell them? For it is always a two-way street. So you play with creative unlimitedness even within the concept of limited remembrance of the Holy Self. And as you play with creative unlimitedness, you move more and more into understanding the Holy Self and remembering how it feels to be Christ. Truly, you are moving into a new age, a new time when you are going to live from the mind of God, not the human mind as you have understood it to be. but the human mind that knows itself to be an extension of the mind of God. That is what you are moving towards. That is what you desire to experience and know, so that you no longer feel separate, feeling, here I am, and God is somewhere out there. Perhaps if I say the right words, if I say the right prayer, perhaps if I do the right ritual, then he will look with favor upon me. That has been the belief down through generations of time, but now you are moving into the space of understanding that. I am an extension of the mind of God. I am an extension of the Father brought, because of my choice, into this reality to serve him. Now, how do you serve the Father? It is by being in fully awakened consciousness, the light in a place which still believes in darkness. The mind of God has been spoken about for eons of time. It has been defined by your religious, philosophical lineage of thinking in many different ways according to societies and cultures. It has often been most mysterious, never to be defined in a way that you could quite grasp it. It was always something beyond the human mind. Now, in truth, the mind of God is the interdimensional self of reality, capital R of you. It is the vast ocean of beingness, of consciousness, of energy, out of which you draw the energy to make this reality, this dimension. You are not separate from the mind of God. You use the energy of God, of Christ, to fashion the experience that you have in every drama, in every adventure, this lifetime and every other lifetime. The mind of God is, yes, beyond what you see as a human mind, because you have circumscribed what you have said human mind can encompass, what a human mind can think about and realize. The mind of God is beyond, yes, because it is all this and much, much more, and you are not separate from it. This is my gospel to you. You are not separate from the mind of God. You have never been separate. You cannot be separate from the mind of God. You cannot be outside of the mind of God, even as you temporarily believe yourself to be outside of it, and as you claim experience which you define then to be outside of the mind of God. But in truth, you are never outside of, or abandoned by, or forgotten by God, the Father, Mother, the God mind. As you are now practicing moving into the space of beholder, as you are now practicing moving into the space of interdimensional self, you are moving into a remembrance and a realization of the God mind. Do you see why we have been doing this in steps? Do you see why we have been gently and yet with purpose leading you, exhorting you even to move into an expanded understanding of self? It is to move you into the space of God mind, for that is the mind out of which you create. Even the creations that you would say you did not want to own, the creations of which you would say, I don't know how these experiences came to me, I didn't ask for them. Well, yes, you did. And you have created all that which you have experienced, loving and unloving, out of the energy of the interdimensional self, out of the energy of God mind. You are the ones who have then labeled what you have created and called it either good or not so good or sometimes horrific. But the God mind only looks upon what you create and sees it as a creative, sees it as energy that is being shaped and molded. It does not value judge. You are the ones who place value upon persons, things, events, and more often than not, you find yourself lacking or you find others lacking, and you judge everything on a scale of being most wonderfully perfect to this place of being terrible, positively the worst, a hell on earth. But the God mind does not value judge. The God mind is. You have your writings that have said that the God mind is love. You have your writings that say that God the Father, Mother is love and is loving. There is truth in this, but not the way the human understanding would define truth. For human understanding, again, will take but a part of the whole. The truth is that God mind is love as you understand love to be expansive and without limits. We have spoken in other times of the feeling of human love, how it feels to be in human love. You fall totally in love with someone or something or a beloved pet, and you are so in love with that one that you feel yourself to have released all boundaries. You feel expansive in that love, and for a moment or longer, you lose all sense of the small self through the identification with the other one in love. Love is expansive, and the God mind is expansive. It is love, yes, as you understand love and yet more. It is expansive, forever ongoing, forever expressing itself even beyond time. To use the word forever still connotes some time, and the God mind, the isness of you, is forever and forever ongoing beyond time. You have taken a segment of the God mind and put it within an understanding of time, even as you would see time as being most vast upon this plane. It is still but a segment, if you will, within the creativity of the God mind. You are functioning within the segment, and for many lifetimes you have said, "This is all I can be." But now you are moving into a place of claiming and connecting with the God mind, the allness of you, and it will not blow the circuits. That has been a fear of the separated ego. Now it will blow the separated ego, but it will not blow the circuits of your consciousness to the place where you will lose yourself. You will never lose the individual consciousness of you as you know yourself to be individuality, unless you choose to meld with more of the holy self of you and to identify with that self. Anytime you want to connect with the individuality that you claim to be you, the individual consciousness of you in any lifetime, any dimension of expression, it is available to you. There is a belief within the paradigm of the collective consciousness at this time and space that you are cut off from all but what may be a very small part of what you call past lives, and even those you are not quite sure of. You go to psychics, you go to ones who say they have a bit more vision, and you say, "Who have I been in past lives?" They give you a tidbit and you say, "Well, yes, that feels true to me," and you claim it. And yet there is a question mark in the mind that says, "Well, I'm not quite sure," because the collective consciousness has dictated that. This is all there is, and I will know about myself, just this very specific point of focus right now. But in reality, you can always call up in your consciousness any individuality and any individual consciousness which you claim to be you in any expression, any lifetime, any dimension, and you can experience the individuality. It is not separate from you, as the God mind is not separate from you. As you will go about your daily living, there is a tool, a way to become more mindful of the God mind, and it is to be mindful of what you are doing in every moment. I watch you and your brothers and sisters, as you go about your daily activities, and so much of the time you have focused on interest in the past, what has happened an hour ago, a day ago, a week ago, even years ago, or you have the focus of interest in the future, what you are going to experience in the next day, the next week, next year, how are you going to write that next report, how are you going to talk with someone about whatever, where you are going to travel, etc., and so little of your focus of attention is placed upon the present moment and being mindful in that moment of where you are and what you are doing. So I would suggest unto you, as you want to connect more and more with the God mind, that you begin connecting with the mindfulness of what you are doing in every moment. Where are you right now? Be mindful of that. How does it feel to be where you are right now? What do you see? What do you experience? What are you taking into the human mind and interpreting? A life of mindfulness is the foundation of moving into the remembrance of God mind. I would suggest you not to spend so much energy on the past and the future, but to bring the focus into the here and now, the joy of the here and now. For indeed, if you have been carrying a heavy burden, being worried about some situation, if you feel that there is something that you need to do to set something right, or you have some fears perhaps, I ask you, where is that worry right now? Where is the fear? Where is that event or situation you are contemplating? It exists in the past or in the future, but right now, as you take a deep breath, you are living in the present moment in peace. Right now, if you take a deep breath, you can allow the body to release all the constriction, all the fear and worry that you carry in the solar plexus. You can allow the belly to be soft. You can allow the heart to open. You can allow the lungs to expand, to breathe in a most wonderful inspiration, and to dwell in peace this moment. Be mindful of where you are at this moment. Do not put yourself forward in time, for indeed, when you reach the place where you have to deal with something that you see as being in the future, you will deal with it easily. The separated ego has said unto you in so many lifetimes that you have to prepare, that you have to be ready to defend, to take care of the body, to take care of the emotions even. The separated ego has said, you must walk down every possible road ahead of time. You must look around every corner. You must look under every stone and rock to see what might be hiding there. You must rehearse what you are going to say, etc. I see you as you allow the mind to fast forward and you rehearse. What am I going to say? Should I say this? How will they accept it? Maybe I should say, and you spend a lot of time and energy in the future time that may not even happen. Be mindful of the present. of where you are right now in the present. Breathe deeply of the peace of the present moment and the gift that is in the present moment. One of the reasons you call it the present, it is because it is a gift. Allow yourself as the holy child to accept the gift and to live in the present. If there are things that you have to do for an employer that move you into a goal in the future, then attend to them in the present. But be mindful of living in the present even as you know you are preparing for a time which seems to be in the future. Do not put yourself into the future in a way which constricts all the life flow to the place where you do not have a joy of living. Abide in the present. Be mindful that, yes, I am working on a report which has to be given some days from now, or I'm going to work on a project with someone else that will be called together at a later time. I am mindful that I am working on that, and I am mindful that I am in the present right now. As you will draw the focus of attention to the mindfulness, the awareness of where you are right now, you will find that there is a gifting of peace which allows you to move into the claiming and the realization of the God mind which is always at work, even when you have said, I am separate from the God mind. As you are mindful, lowercase m, it allows you opportunity to move into the remembrance and realization of the one mind, capital M, the place which knows detachment, which knows, I am in the world. But I am not of the world. I have a purpose and reason for being here. But the reason for being here is not to be so constricted that I'm not in joy with living. The reason and purpose is to be the joy of the Father incarnate and to live from that space as the Holy Child. Why do I call you child? It is to tickle the remembrance of how it feels to be innocence, how it feels to be a child who is spontaneous about life, who does not have to rehearse, does not have to think about everything that's going on. Now as a child grows a bit in stature, it takes on a bit of the wisdom of the world. It is not true wisdom. The child, the innocent holy child, becomes the adaptive child. For the child adapts itself to what it believes is going to be expected of it, what is going to bring love, reward. But the holy child, the innocent holy child of you, is the child which goes spontaneously, is excited about life, wants to have adventures just for the fun of having adventures, wants to see, what is this new land? What do the mountains look like? What do the waters look like? What new formation am I going to see? What wondrous formation have I brought forth? I, as the creative one in this co-creating of all this manifest expression of energy upon this plane, want to see that. I want to experience it, and I have the courage to go ahead and do it. Your dreams are still alive and well as long as you draw breath. Go experience. Know that you have the experiences that you bring forth out of the mind of God because you are an extension of God, the Father, Mother. For so many, many lifetimes you have bought and paid dearly for the truth, small t, that this was all there is, and that you are not worthy to experience anything better, that you are not even worthy to pray unto the Father. That has been a belief in many lifetimes. You had to have someone else who was closer to God to pray for you. You, lonely sinner that you were not even allowed to contemplate God. For if you contemplated God, surely you would die, because you could not hold a holy thought. You had been cast out of the garden, out of the kingdom, because of original sin, which you never understood anyway. You have believed. I've been told I'm very sinful. I am guilty of a horrible sin that originated before I even have an understanding, and I don't know the Father. Therefore I will seek someone else who has his ear, and perhaps then I will be taken care of. I do have desires, but I won't speak them. This is how you have gone in other lifetimes. I have desires, but I can't speak them, because to speak them would be a sacrilege. Well, now that idea seems a bit foreign to you, praise God, the self of you, and that it is. For you are moving into the place of remembering and claiming the Holy Self, the sacred self of you that can never be sacrilegious. You are moving into a place of great power, not as the world defines power, but the great place of Christ power, of creative power, which comes from the power of the God mind. My message to you is to be mindful of the present moment. Do not dwell in the past. Do not dwell in the future. Allow yourself to be mindful of the present, and in the peace of the present acknowledge that I live and move and have my being in the God mind. I am not separate from the mind of God. It is not something that is mysterious and far removed from me. It is that which allows me to have the creative experience called this lifetime. For indeed, a mindful life, where you are mindful of the present, is one which leads you to the happiness of knowing your connection with all that is, that which has been called the mind of God. The new time you are moving into is a time of miracle. It is a time which has not yet been defined yet. That is why your prophecies do not speak of it. You have not defined it yet, because it is going to be an open-ended experience even yet within time, because you have said you want to have this experience within the concept of time, but you are also going to know the timelessness of yourself. You will define the new consciousness. It has not been written yet. That is what is most wonderful. You will define it because you are knowing now that you will call forth the Christ energy from the mind of God in order to fashion, and you will make it most wonderful, each and every one of you, in your own unique way. Some will have visions of meeting with space brothers or traveling to other universe, and those will be realities, again small r. Some will have experiences within that are so blissful that nothing in the outer will matter at all, for you have reached the place of great revelation. I am that which I am, and I need no more. You will move into most wondrous technology because already you have set that into motion. You will move into the most wonderful inventions, both physical and energetic inventions. You will move into the space of knowing the heart of a brother and sister. You will know the releasement of boundaries of small self, and you will bring forth a world which moves on the energy of love rather than keeping itself constricted by the energy of fear. You will define this new age out of the God mind. I speak to you as you move forth now into a new time, and I say to you, you will define that which seems to be undefinable, unimaginable in this moment, and you will define your reality, your most wonderful, beautiful garden of reality, out of the energy of the mind of God, the God mind, and you will do it with the awareness of I am that mind. Go forth, adventure, live, create, celebrate, and honor the God mind. And know that always I walk with you into the remembrance of the One Self. So be it.